So today I thought I'd bring you to a property which is a little bit different in the sense of how we found this property. So I was on one of my weekly mentoring calls with one of my students, and we were just going through the various methods to find below market value properties. And one of the methods that we use, but it's not particularly good at the moment because the market is very buoyant, the market's on fire. But one of the methods we use is that we build up relationships with estate agents. So anyway, I was talking to the student and saying that at the moment you won't really get a deal from an estate agent. So I gave him an example. I literally got my phone out and live phoned the estate agent and asked the estate agent if they'd got any deals, expecting the estate agent to say, laugh and say, no deals at the moment because everything's selling like hotcakes. So I called up and said, hi Stuart, I know the agent, I've known him for many years, built up the relationship over the years. Excuse me, there's a car coming past, so we'll pause. Joys of filming outside, eh? Oh, another one. Anyway, so I called Stuart up and I said, Stuart, hi Stuart, it's Nick Elsmore. I said, then he said, oh, hi Nick, I haven't spoke to you for a while, how are you? And I haven't spoke to him for probably a couple of years because of the pandemic. And he said, oh, how are you? I said, yeah, great, thanks. I said, just wondering if you've got any properties. He said, well, as it happens, I've got a property. He said, but I hadn't thought of you, he said, because I hadn't heard from you for a couple of years. So the point I'm trying to make is that even though I've known that agent for 20 years, because I wasn't top of his mind, he hadn't thought to call me, okay? As it happens, I called him to prove that there's no deals, and actually I found a deal. So this is the deal. So we've bought this now, so let's just go inside and I'll explain a little bit more about it. So the house is a 3-bed terraced house, which was owned by a charity. So the property had sold to a traditional buyer, fallen through. The charity couldn't wait any longer, so therefore they were looking for somebody to purchase quickly. So purchased it, we completed within 4 weeks. Actually, I think it was about 4.5 weeks, but just a little over 4 weeks. So the charity were happy, they got their money, and we got a really good deal. So this is the house. So now I've just explained a little bit about the situation, about buying below value and finding deals and contacting your estate agent. So 2 things I want to kind of hammer home really is build up those relationships with estate agents. Okay, tell them what you do, tell them what you're about, tell them that you are a property trader, property investor, and that you do this for a living and you buy properties. So tell them what you're about and keep in contact. I've known that guy for 20 years and yet he still forgot to call me and say, Nick, I've got a property, do you want to buy it? Because it's in as much as his interest as it is mine to get the deal done, because he sells it. So he's got a happy customer and he gets the commission off the customer. So it just goes to show, and as it happens, as I say, I was on the phone to a mentoring student and I was trying to prove that there aren't any deals. So he actually proved that actually there are deals. So even in the middle of a hot market, there are always deals. People will always have a time pressure as opposed to a monetary pressure. So there will always be people that want to sell because they need the money fast. They don't want to wait for the top price and get money slowly. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Keep calling the agents. Anyway, as we're here, I'm sure you want to have a look around. So I'm just going to walk back to the front and we'll start off in the front room and see what we've got. So we've got a front room here, which is it's functional. It's quite small, but terraced houses aren't the largest of houses, are they anyway? So nothing really spectacular here. Got a front room. You're probably going to ask me what we're going to do with this. Well, we're probably going to give it a refurb and then sell it on. And a lot of you always say to me, another thing that you say to me is, I get a lot of emails and comments as to, why do you always say, Nick, at the beginning of the video that you're not quite sure what you're going to do? Well, I'll answer that. And the reason I'm not quite sure what we're going to do is because things change. So let's just say that this takes us 2 months to refurb and get ready. My cash position might change in 2 months' time, The market might change in 2 months' time. I might need the money to do something else, or I might not need the money to do something else, okay? And the market might change. The market might be really buoyant, it might not be buoyant, it might have gone off the boil, who knows, okay? So there's all sorts of things that I analyse and that I assess in deciding what we're going to do. So I always buy them if it's a good deal. Afterwards, I then decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to let it or do we want to sell it? Sometimes we start out with the intention of doing a refurb. So we get that lump sum of cash. Remember, if you've watched previous videos, I talk about the conveyor belt method, putting a property on the conveyor belt, and as it goes along the conveyor belt, like in a factory, we do something to it. And when it drops off the end, we make a lump sum of money. So sometimes we do that, and at the outset, that's all we're going to do. We're just going to refurb it and flip it and make some money. But sometimes we refurb it, and at the end of it, we realise, actually, you know what? There's a real big demand at the moment for professional HMO, so we might convert it to a HMO. Yeah, okay, we need to put some fire doors things in and, you know, smokes and all the other things that go with a HMO. But the point I'm trying to get across is that what we start out, for us, isn't always the same. Now, for you guys that may be just starting out and want to get that lump sum of cash, that is your end goal. So you can't, if you're trying to build that cash pot up to get started, well, then your end goal will be to flip it and make some money, okay? So I'm not saying that you should reevaluate your position. I'm just explaining that when people say to me, Nick, why did you say at the beginning that we're not quite sure what we're going to do? That's the answer as to why we're not quite sure. But in this instance, we're probably just going to refurb it and sell it on. But anyway, we'll keep you posted throughout the journey. So I'll show you around. There's not a great deal to see. So this is the front room. Then we've got a hallway through here. We've got a little bit of a cellar in there. So then we've got the second reception room. So I guess this would be the dining room. So second room, chimney's been blocked off. And then moving on through into the kitchen, we've got a kind of vestibule area which leads onto the kitchen. And then as we move through, we've got the kitchen itself. So basic kitchen. I'm not quite sure what they did with the property, but it was a charity, so I'm guessing that they maybe rented it out to some people that were less fortunate and needed some help with housing. So, as I say, I don't know what they did, but judging by it, you know, it's clean and tidy, it's functional. It's got a kitchen in here. It's not the kitchen that we would need to resell it. You know, this is very basic, so we are going to need to put a new kitchen in here. We'll get rid of the wood chip wallpaper. You can see that the whole house has got anaglypta and wood chip wallpaper, so we'll get rid of that. Moving on through, bathroom, downstairs bathroom at the rear of the property. And again, you know, it's clean and tidy, but it's not going to sell the house, so it can't stay like this. But it's functional if it was going to be rented out, and particularly, as I said, for the charity, the people that they put in here, they were probably maybe, you know, homeless people or whatever, I don't know. But it's clean, tidy, it's functional, but for refurb purposes, for resale purposes, sorry, we're going to need to do some work. So it's going to get a new bathroom, it's going to get a new kitchen. I'm assured that the boiler works, although we'll have to check that out. We'll do something with this area here, because this is a bit like no man's land. So we'll do something here. Probably even take that wall out and make the kitchen a little bit bigger. So we'll get something done with that. Looks like, looking at the windows, certainly that window's rotten, so we'll replace that window. So the floor, we need to put new flooring. You can see that it's kind of threadbare, so it'll need some new flooring throughout. And yeah, you can see the wood chip, and you know, it's okay for certain types of rentals, but not for a refurb and not to make some money. So this wood chip's gonna have to go, and we'll just replaster this. We always check the electrics as well, so that's one thing that we'll need to check. It looks like at the moment that the electrics are fairly, you know, they're good. So hopefully we won't need to change any part of the electrics or rewire it, but that's a process that we do go through. So moving on upstairs, it's got a very steep staircase in this house. Yeah, so it's got a very steep staircase, as lots of old buildings, old houses do have. Okay, so first bedroom, largest room in the house. Again, it's just the whole house is wood chip. So we'll strip the wallpaper off, re-skim it, nice new plastered walls. The floor covering's not too bad in here, but once we're changing the floor covering in the whole house, we can't have odd colours, so we'll change this as well. Yeah, central heating's got radiators in here, so you know, we'll put some new doors on so they don't look the best, you know, they don't look the nicest. Again, they're functional, but just not for what we're going to do. And this comes back to, remember I keep saying that you need to know your market, you need to know what you're aiming for. So there's no point in us refurbing this to a standard and then renting it out to another charitable organisation, because if we're going to do that, we might as well keep it as it is. Yeah. So it's all about knowing your market, knowing what you want to do with the property at the end, and knowing who you're attracting. And then you can decide what you're going to do inside. Remember, don't get emotional. It's all logical. So that's this room. And then across the hallway, we've just got another couple of rooms. So which one should we go in? Eeny, meeny. Let's go in this one. So second largest room. I'm going to try and speak a little bit quieter because of the echo in the room. We don't want it echoing on the video. So again, there's not a great deal to show you, but I know that lots of you say, Nick, just show us every room just so you know you can fast forward if you find this bit boring, but just standard room, wood chip. Little cupboard here. So all the old terraced houses had a cupboard like that. Moving on into the smallest room. And that's it. So 3 bedrooms, 2 decent rooms and a box room. And what else can I tell you? That's pretty much it. As always, we'll keep you posted. We'll keep you updated on what we're going to do. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Any comments, put them in the bottom. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.